This video is a champion preview to look at Rito's newest champion Mel, so we all know what to expect when she comes out in a few weeks. Firstly, and the most important part of any new character, yes, she does have a top tier emote spam. Mel is a ranged champion designed for the mid lane as a mage, and my first impressions are, wow, she is going to be good. Firstly, she is a new champion to the game and therefore must have multiple passives. Her first passive is pretty unique, where her basic attacks and abilities apply a stack of overwhelm to the target for 5 seconds, and this does refresh every time she damages them again. For each stack on the target, they store damage within them. However, the enemy won't take this damage and it will drop off after 5 seconds, unless this damage will kill them, which will lead to some pretty surprising executes. Her second passive is whenever she casts an ability. Regardless if it hits an enemy or not, she grants herself 3 stacks for 5 seconds and she can have up to 9 stacks at one time. Her next basic attack during this time will consume all these to fire additional bolts at her target, dealing damage. This, however, has incredible synergy with her first passive, as each bolt counts as its own instance of damage. So, a single attack with 9 bolts saved up will apply 10 stacks of overwhelm to your target immediately. It's also worth mentioning these passives do work on minions, but at a 40% effectiveness. Where this isn't a massive amount, it does mean if you've already damaged the minion, the execute makes farming them incredibly easy. Mel's Q is a skill shot which places a circle on the floor, and even the tooltip of this feels very Noxus, copying the same style as Darius's Q. After use, Mel fires bolts at the circle which deals damage to enemies within them. With rank 1 in this ability, she fires 6 bolts and fires 1 more for each rank until she's firing 10. And of course, as this fires multiple bolts, it has great synergy with her passive. Mel's W is one of the most hyped abilities in her kit, where she creates a barrier around herself and becomes invulnerable to all damage apart from turrets. Yep, invulnerable. But this isn't even the craziest part of this ability. During this time, any projectiles that hit her will be reflected back in the source's direction. So things like Morgana Q will be thrown back towards them, and point and click abilities like Viger Ult will be directly returned to sender. However, this ability is on a long cooldown starting at 35 seconds. Mel's E is a straight line skill shot which fires a slow moving orb in a direction, dealing damage to enemies it hits and roots them. This root lasts for 1.75 seconds and when fully leveled goes up to 2.25, which is a massive amount of time for an AoE root. In addition, the area around the orb deals constant damage to enemies and slows them. And as it deals constant damage, once again it applies many stacks of overwhelm. Mel's ultimate has a passive, where her overwhelm does more damage for each rank in the ultimate. This ability can only be used when enemies are affected with overwhelm, where she simply deals damage to all enemies affected with overwhelm, dealing more damage the more stacks they have. Also, this doesn't consume the overwhelm stacks unless it kills the target, making it a great tool to use before you kill the target to get them even closer to death. Her combo is pretty straightforward. Using E into an attack followed by Q and W into another attack will apply tons of overwhelm. Deal tons of damage with your ultimate into another attack. And that's our first look at Mel. Comment below what you think of her and how she'll fit into the meta.